Welcome back to CryptoLabsNews. I hope you're all doing well. Today is your Monday morning XRP update, and we're going to run through a full breakdown as usual. We'll cover the fundamentals, take a look at the technical setup, and talk honestly about where things stand right now. From a technical perspective, the situation isn't exactly impressive at the moment. I still believe we're in a consolidation phase, but it's definitely not a strong one. Price action has been moving back and forth, and overall it's clearly leaning toward the downside. XRP is slowly compressing against a very important support zone between roughly 1.96 and $2. That area is critical, and we need to talk about what happens next. We'll go over the possible scenarios here, whether I think XRP can actually hold this level, and why this question matters so much. Because if XRP fails to hold the $2 level, then we're likely looking at a much deeper move down toward 1.75 and potentially even 1.65. That would mark the first real bearish structural shift since April 2025, and honestly since December 2024. Up until now, the overall structure has remained neutral, with XRP mostly ranging between $2 and around 2.85 with a few fakeouts along the way. A clean breakdown below 2 would change that picture significantly. That said, I do want to be fair and transparent. All of last week, I consistently said that I believed XRP would hold this area, and that's still my base case even though the technicals are getting weaker. I mentioned that we could see a spike down toward 1.98 or 1.96 and even slightly lower, which I'll point out later in the video. But the idea has always been the same: a sweep of liquidity into support followed by a bounce. From there, I've been expecting a recovery back toward the 2.25 to 2.3 range, and later on, possibly toward the end of December or into Q1 of 2026, a move toward 2.4. That outlook hasn't changed yet. Now let's talk fundamentals. On that front, Ripple is actually doing relatively well. One of the biggest things we need to keep watching closely is the XRP ETF flow data. Inflows are supportive for price, but if we start seeing consistent outflows, then the odds of a breakdown increase dramatically. So far, that's something we want to avoid. Another important factor I already mentioned last week is the XRP-BTC pair. XRP relative to Bitcoin is sitting right on a very strong support zone, around the 2160 level. Historically, this is where XRP tends to either outperform Bitcoin or at least hold up better during market weakness. That outperformance could come in the form of XRP rallying harder than BTC, or simply dropping less if the market pulls back. Either way, I'm leaning toward XRP moving back toward the top of its range, which would help reinforce the $2 level as solid support. And this is important because although the $2 area has held so far, the reactions off it have been getting weaker. After the initial reclaim, XRP pushed up to around 2.28. The next bounce only reached about 2.22. After that, we topped near 2.18. You can clearly see that price is slowly grinding lower, which means we need a move back above 2.2 to 2.22 to break this short-term downtrend and regain strength. When we look at order flow data, specifically XRP on Gate.io, it's not exactly ideal at first glance. However, there are some encouraging signs. We're starting to see long positions come in, and there's also evidence of absorption. The cumulative volume delta has been trending downward, and while price initially followed, the selling pressure has become less aggressive. That suggests there is spot buying happening beneath the surface. On top of that, negative funding rates are often seen near local bottoms, which adds another layer of confluence. When you combine that with broader market conditions today, my overall conclusion remains the same. There is still one more level I want to highlight, and that's around 1.93, with a point of control near 1.97. Especially on a Monday, and given current market behavior, I think it's very possible we see a quick spike down into that zone. But if that happens, I expect a solid reaction, a reclaim above the short-term VWAP structure, and then a push higher back into the range. As for timing, that's always the hardest part to predict, but I'll continue to monitor it closely and keep you all updated as the situation develops. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Take care, and I'll see you in the next update.